First time in a long time, but back like I never left. Taking each day as it comes, you know me, I don't read ahead. Watch me burn down everything, BDE on the TV set. When I'm in control on the road, you could never really know what's up next.
Hello.
Hello, hello, hello.
Braden Herrington here with Davie Portman for Up Next. You found us at postwrestling.com. You're using whatever podcast app you're choosing to use, Apple, Spotify, whatever else there is in the world. Podcast Addict, I think that's a thing.
That's a thing.
So thank you for using that. And of course,
we are live on youtube.com/postwrestling. Hello, YouTube room. How are we doing?
hello, YouTube room. It is Tuesday, June 24th, 2025, and happy summer. We're here to talk about some NXT. We're here to talk about some wrestling, and you know why? Because we are your NXT friends.
Friends.
And we'll always be your NXT friends. We are on the road to lots of things.
We're on so many roads.
So many roads.
So many roads right now.
Roads to Evolution, if you believe in that sort of thing. Evolution 2, the sequel. Roads to Great American Bashes, possibly. And roads to All In. And even more. Who knows?
And flights to Night of Champions, maybe, hopefully, maybe not. Let's see.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know, WWE, they don't know what the fuck they're doing. I keep seeing that around today. But yeah, interesting times, trying times. And you know what? In these times, wrestling, any entertainment form, even podcasts like silly guys like ourselves, we provide an escape. So just remember, peace and love, everybody. Peace and love. Love will conquer hate all the time. So, thank you to everyone in the post wrestling community and the Poisonrana community. We super appreciate it. If you haven't listened to our show this past Sunday, Davie and I, we had a hell of a week this week, and we were a little vulnerable on a podcast, and then we talked about some wrestling. And I want to say thanks to all the people out there who support and are part of this post wrestling Poisonrana community. It means a lot, and we can't do these shows and everything without all you people. So peace and love, as I say.
Peace and love. Yeah, you can support us in many ways. This week, we had a lot of support from awesome, lovely listeners and friends. Just reaching out, saying thanks, love you, hope you're doing well, hope you're okay, and that means a lot. You can always support us by just being involved, being in our Facebook chat groups, communicating with us on Twitter, in the comments on YouTube, that sort of thing. Subscribing to us, liking us, giving us a 5-star rating. All these things help us so much. And if you want to go that extra step, patreon.com/Poisonrana, where we put out a whole lot of content for you outside of Up Next and our weekly Sunday show on Poisonrana.
Absolutely. Whatever social media or podcast app you use, search Poisonrana Pod, give us a little follow, subscribe, and check out all the stuff. We have tons of free shows. We put out some shows for free. We put out our Champ is Here, episode 9 with Benno and Hamflet. That was a whole lot of fun. We've been going through John Cena's title reigns one by one, once per month, and we've had a lot of fun shows and a lot of great guests, and we put that one out for free. We also have a new episode of What Up Doe with See No Evil and B Detroit. They were chatting all about Lil Wayne, the new Carter album, thoughts on that, thoughts on some wrestling, and the new Travis Scott Pusha T rivalry that may or may not happen at SummerSlam. That would be pretty cool somehow, but that's a free show. And while I'm mentioning these two guys, they will be filling in for us next week. Next Tuesday is Canada Day, and Davie is a full-blooded Canadian now. So we got to celebrate by being Canadians and taking our rightful day off. So we got two Americans, Be America, Be Detroit, and See No Evil. They're going to stand on guard for thee and fill in. They won't be going live next Tuesday night, but join them Wednesday, 6 p.m. before Dynamite. They're going to run down NXT and chat about whatever else they want to talk about. So that'll be here on the Post Wrestling. Wednesday, July 2nd will be a new What Up Next episode next week at Wednesday, 6 p.m. Eastern time before Dynamite, talking about NXT and everything. And I know the guys always do a bang-up job when they fill in for us, so we really appreciate it. We're going to take the Canadian day off, see some fireworks, we're going to celebrate.
I am actually working during the day, but yes, I will
that
be
time and a half, brother.
Exactly. That's the thing. I'm like, I'll take Monday off, and I'll get that time and a half.
Yeah.
And yeah, it'll be my first Canada Day as a Canadian. So felt I really needed to celebrate that. Another bit of housekeeping. We won't be going live this Sunday. There's just a lot of stuff going on in both our lives in the next week. So we'll probably we'll kind of catch up in a little bit to talk about our thoughts on Night of Champions. I know it will be a little past it by then, but I'm sure you can listen to our good friends at Post Wrestling and B and Cino giving their thoughts. But we'll be catching up on a lot of stuff following that when we come back for an episode of Poison Rana. So
absolutely,
Poison Rana this Sunday and B and Cino next Wednesday.
Yes, summertime means we want to take up some vacation days. We want to have some time off, and we got a lot going on. But I know Cino and B will definitely talk about Night of Champions next Wednesday as well on their What Up Next episode. So look forward to that. Audio, of course, will be up on this Post Wrestling feed and postwrestling.com as per always. And we have a lot of other shows. We just went live, like I said, on Sunday. It was a free show. You can check the audio, Poisonrana on YouTube or your podcast app. Again, give us a follow. We just talked about everything going on in the world of WWE, John Cena's pipe bomb, how we loved the idea of it. More on that on the show. Plus everything going on with Grand Slam Mexico and how I owe Sin Cara all the sorries, I was so wrong. I almost
no. Sin Cara can still get in the bin, yes. But Mystico, however, yes,
Mystico. I was not familiar with your game, and now dare I say, I can't wait to see if they do Mystico MJF mask versus hair, because bald Hurt Syndicate MJF or maskless Mystico. That I don't know what that song has done something to me. It is definitely going to crack my Spotify #1 plate. So I've over listened to it a million times already. But wow, we talked all about that. That was on a free show. But we are gearing up for All In, and we're very excited. And one of the matches is Kenny Omega, Kazuchika Okada, one last time, or so they say. And we're very excited. In fact, we are so excited we had a few too many Fernets and booked some flights, and we're going to the show. But a show we've been waiting to do, itching to do. We do a show called Best Match Ever over on our Patreon, where we get real nerdy, rate, review, go through the whole story, the matches, the feud, sometimes gimmicks or different playlists. We've done so many different shows. But finally, we are looking at Omega Okada, the rivalry from New Japan about 7 years ago, where they fought, first starting off at Wrestle Kingdom. We're going to go through all their matches, just the singles matches in that rivalry, because they have done a whole lot of tag matches in between. But we're going to look, finally, rate, review, and talk about what some call the best matches in wrestling. So what better than to do a best match ever? And then who knows, maybe after we watch the latest one, maybe we'll tack it on.
So we're talking about Wrestle Kingdom 11, and then the 2 years at Dominion and the G1, I think 2018, right? Mainly?
Yes. So talking all about Kenny Omega, Kazuchika Okada, definitely super thrilled. This is a lot of fun going back. I haven't watched these matches in quite a while, but it's with fresh eyes over the last while. It's getting me really hyped up for this rematch that we're getting. So look forward to that show. We're going to be recording this tomorrow, actually, over on our Patreon. So check us out, patreon.com/PoisonRana. You get that show. You get The Champ is Here. We just reviewed a show with CM Scrump. I have to sneeze, but it's not hitting yet, and I hate that.
That's feeling. Okay. Yeah, I can pick this up. Yeah, we did a show with CM Scrump, our boy from Chicago. He felt like the natural pick to talk about John Cena versus CM Punk in The Champ is Here, episode 10. This show also involved the whole feud with R-Truth. Isn't it weird how things change, things stay the same? Miz, Morrison, the lot, going into pipe bombs and the like. Very peculiar how this show fell on the week that John Cena faces R-Truth and someone cuts a pipe bomb promo. Very, very strange timing, but great chat we had with Scrump. We went for a good 3.5 hours covering this whole sort of 4-5 month title reign of John Cena, culminating at Money in the Bank 2011.
This sneeze still hasn't come, so it could happen at any moment, and I apologize if it does. But yes, this was a fun show, talking all about the pipe bomb, and it's weird how it kind of, we didn't fit it to do this, but it was fun going back, and like it's like listening to an album you haven't heard in a long time, but you know it's a banging album. It's almost like we knew the pipe bomb promos. I say promos because there's a bunch of them, but this was a show you get that show, Best Match Ever, Omega Okada, plus all the movie reviews, everything. $5, you get access to our whole archives. The RSS feed connects to your podcast app. Give us your money, $5 a month, to become a friend over and check out all the podcasts to keep you entertained on those lonely drives, hot showers, whatever it may be. But we appreciate you.
And if you do want to make the leap and be one of our family member patrons, it's well worth it. You can pick anything for us to review on the Patreon. It could be a movie, it could be a TV show, it could be wrestling, whatever you like, and we will talk about it. We will get you on the show to find out why you picked it. We'll put you through some trivia to make sure you really did watch it and you weren't just picking it as a troll job, as many people have in the past. But you also get access to our show Behind the BDE, where Braden and I pull the curtain back a little bit. We go a little unfiltered. We don't come in with a plan. We just talk for a good hour or so, and it's always a fun chat. Get a little personal, and I know our family members, our world champion patrons, enjoy this show, and we are going to be putting out a brand new episode this week.
Absolutely. John and Wei claim it's their favorite show because we get very uncensored. It's very fun, and appreciate, again, any of our patrons and any listeners. Again, you can do our Patreon, or just even liking and giving us a follow goes a long way. But appreciate everyone out there. The wrestling never stops. This weekend is Night of Champions in Saudi Arabia. Will the show go on, or does the show go on? Does it happen?
I feel at this point it's happening. Like
I had no doubt that it wouldn't.
Would take
for some reason.
Yeah, I don't know what would stop them from doing this show at this point. But yeah, it seems, watched Monday Night Raw yesterday. The promotion was all still there. We did hear yesterday that some members of WWE who flew out a little early were stuck in Qatar due to the ongoing conflicts with Iran and Israel. So yeah, but it seems it's gung-ho. Yeah, all going ahead this Saturday, right? Saturday, I believe.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I just, like, all the stuff going on, you're seeing the news, and your brain thinks like, okay, well, there's stuff that has happened before. We still don't really know what happened with that whole thing when they were stuck on that plane that one time. That's, I don't know, a Dark Side episode down the line, maybe. But this time around, it's like the show hasn't happened yet, and there's all this stuff going on in US and everything, and people are a little worried. So I think maybe people are jumping to conclusions of like, hey, they should stop the show, where I don't think it would, like you said, it would take a lot for them to. CM Punk's got to get paid. Okay. Everyone's got to get paid. So I don't know.
I would be curious if there are members of the roster or, crew or whatever who aren't going to go across. I'd be interested. Obviously we do have, there's not a whole lot booked on Night of Champions itself. They stick to these 5-match cards. I believe it's all singles matches. So that's only really 10 people. But we do have the SmackDown taping on Friday as well. So I wonder if that will affect it in any way. Yeah.
We'll see, because the SmackDown, that's obviously going to have a lot more people scheduled, and like meet and greets or whatever else they do while they take over a city and everything. But hopefully everything goes well, and I'm sure it will, like 100%. But Night of Champions this Saturday. We did give a little preview just the other day where we were talking all about it and what we think. And there's intrigue between, obviously, with Cena and Punk, but I not necessarily loving what's been what's been going on with this Cena heel run. So it's this is probably the best of it so far, as we kind of agreed, but I'm still interested in to see what they could potentially pull off here with smoke and mirrors or not. I don't know.
It is kind of interesting as well that we are getting. We had the semi-final match of Jey Uso and Cody Rhodes yesterday on Raw, which I thought was one of the highlights of Raw. I didn't think it was the strongest episode last night, but I thought they had a pretty fun match to close it. And Cody Rhodes going over. Now, that means we're getting Cody versus Randy Orton, which I think is a match since the Cody return and since especially Cody's championship reign. It's something we've seen coming. But I think we saw this match maybe coming with a punt to the head or an RKO with a heel Randy. Now, that's not to say that this won't happen at the weekend, but interesting that we're getting this match first before the real feud as just two baby faces one-on-one. And I wonder if this is the start of maybe a Randy turn post this match.
Yeah, it feels like a weird time to do it unless Cody Cena isn't the plan for SummerSlam. Maybe you would go with Cody versus Randy. But yeah, you would imagine you would say
well, I mean, it's one of these guys is facing the champion. So it's either going to be Randy Cena again or Cody Cena, unless they go for Gunther/Goldberg's title.
Right. Yes, Goldberg's title for sure. I feel like you might do Cody versus Cena again, but I kind of don't want Randy turning on Cody if you're not going to go to that match. I do think they shouldn't. It's weird that they're going towards it now, but it is a big match. It's Saudi, it's big money and everything. But I do think that's something you could easily use as another big main event some other time as well. Like there's so much history and stuff. And with how this has been a tournament, there hasn't necessarily been a big story of these two. Like this would maybe Cody beats him clean. And then down the line, Randy eventually will have to turn on him. This could be WrestleMania. I think this could be a WrestleMania match.
Cody Randy?
Yeah,
totally. I don't think we're getting this at SummerSlam, but I do think this is the first of maybe seeds being planted for a Randy turn. Now, something I think could be fun is if last year's King of the Ring, you had the kind of accidental botch with the shoulder being up, which they then put into storyline.
Okay.
You could do the reverse this year where, Cody pins Randy, but Randy's shoulder's actually up, which gives Randy a gripe and maybe could start the animosity towards him because he's like, you know what, I didn't actually get pinned that match or something. But I think we're getting the turn maybe into the winter or something like that with Randy.
Because you'd imagine heel Randy would make more sense against Cody. Because Cody heel is eventually going to have to happen, but I don't know if we'll get it. But WrestleMania, that could easily be one of the big matches that they lean into, like with a huge story, legacy. You, I don't know, you bail Ted DiBiase Jr. out of jail for a little bit.
We can retcon that.
Cody can punt him, or Randy punts him, or I don't know. That could be. It would be like when Lawler brought back what's his son.
Grandmaster Sexay.
Rest in peace. People were like, "Oh, did we need this in this story?" I don't know, but one day we'll get to Cody Randy, and the world will rejoice, I guess.
We also had the sit-down interview with Goldberg and Michael Cole, which didn't really learn anything new here. Goldberg was basically bringing back where Gunther disrespected his family, and he couldn't have that, and kind of putting over in this promo for the first time, which we haven't really seen since his return to WWE, 10 years ago now at this point, almost. Him being like, hey, doesn't matter if I'm 27 or 57. If you disrespect my family, I'm coming for you. And I might not be able to go as I used to, but I'm still not one to back down from a fight. Now, the interesting thing was after they played this interview, Michael Cole says on commentary, and I asked Goldberg, is this your last match? Is this your retirement match? And he said, absolutely yes. And I said, well, what happens if you win the title? He goes, well, that's an interesting dilemma, isn't it? So
oh my God.
It kind of sounded like Yeah, maybe there's more. So leaving that bit of intrigue there, that Goldberg could potentially win and still have a little mini retirement run. It is 2025. It is the year of the retirement, right?
Is it
Cena, Tanahashi, Goldberg? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know 27 or 57 if I want to see Goldberg as champion. To be honest, I don't really want to see him wrestle, but again, honest is like it's the car crash kind of thing. Like there's intrigue there. Like that's a 2K video game match right there, Gunther and Goldberg. So yeah, I am intrigued in this match 100%, but I hate to even say it, but I almost want tomfoolery so that you go to SummerSlam as like the big be all end all rematch or something. So does that mean Goldberg wins? But no, I can't believe that. Like, what did Gunther might Triple H is going to buy him a new car or something because of this year of the stuff Gunther's had tapping out at WrestleMania.
Gunther's had to have multiple matches with Jey Uso, a Pat McAfee match, and a Goldberg match.
What did he do? He must have told he was working out with Triple H, and he's like, "Yeah, Motorhead's kind of overrated." He was like, "What the fuck did you just say?" Yeah, you know what? I noticed Gunther. He said, "I'm the best wrestler in this company." I was like, "Oh, so just this company? All right. Yeah, at least you're aware that right now there's a lot of other people having some great years as well." But you know what? I hate to say it, but I think there's more story if Goldberg steamrolls Gunther and then you rematch it at SummerSlam.
What is interesting is Seth Rollins cut a promo at the beginning of the show, and still there's been these rumors that he's getting a new theme or whatever. He's still not fully embracing being a heel, which is
it's weird,
kind of frustrating. Like he is still playing to the crowd a lot, and I think it is harming this group, to be honest. But he did do kind of like a name call of all these other people, and when he mentioned Goldberg, there were a lot of boos towards him. So I think it is a common sentiment where it's I think putting the title on it diminishes it, because I think whatever you feel about Goldberg, when you know, okay, this is it, one more and done, we can move on, you can kind of give the guy his flowers a bit. But when it's, are you really going to make this guy the champion and have him as a focus? That's when it, and we were saying the same thing like 5 years ago when he beat Bray Wyatt. We were saying the same things 8 years ago when he beat Brock. And now at this stage, where he is like limping to the ring, it is a little, come on, you're going to do this to Gunther. But I would say on the flip side, it kind of, I think, shows the trust they have in Gunther. If you think back in the day, Undertaker would always say, I'd just be put up against Giant Gonzalez and Mabel. And like he was trusted to try and help these guys and get them over. So maybe that is, it's almost a good thing that they see Gunther in this way.
Like, yeah, I don't want to see Goldberg, but it's like, hey, this is the retirement. Then like, okay, get it over with. Cool. There isn't, that would be, we said it. The only other dream match other than Gunther currently is Orange Cassidy. That's the only other Goldberg dream match. And Goldberg Gunther, sure. It has my interest, but after that, like, let's move on. I think we got to get back to the serious Gunther that we kind of want, because then we'll go back into more juicier things. But he's had a hell of a year. I don't know what he did to piss Triple H off, but it just feels like, man, you've been really. Hopefully he beats Goldberg, but I do think back to that Bray Wyatt where everyone was pissed about that. Or no, wait, was it? Yeah, it was twice. It's Kevin Owens, and then it was Bray Wyatt.
Kevin Owens and Bray Wyatt.
This fucking guy's done it twice. Nah, fuck this guy. He doesn't need another belt. No, absolutely not. Give it to his son, Gage.
As we're moving towards Evolution as well, I am getting the impression that maybe it's a three-way for the Intercontinental Championship. We had Bayley versus Becky on Raw last night, and Lyra interfering to kind of cause the DQ as she was going after Becky. I feel they're setting up for this three-way, and then possibly Becky Bayley at SummerSlam as a big one-on-one.
Yeah, or the other way around either. Like, I think we will be getting these series of matches sooner rather than later. And I think that's great. I think the Becky Lyra stuff was really good, especially the last pay-per-view match. But Bayley being inserted, they have history and NXT horsewomen and all that. But Lyra is getting her credibility from this feud, I would say. It's really kind of helped her and showing people realize, oh, actually, she's a really good wrestler. And I think that, and she's also like she's cool with the Bird Lady stuff. And I think if you were a grouch about it, I think people might be sour on you. But she's like, yeah, fuck it. If the cool, Bird Lady. And people are like, oh, okay. I saw the Chris Van Vliet clip and I was like, oh, Bird Lady. She's just cool with it. I'm like, yeah, you're cool. You're in. All right. So good for her. What was weird is there was no like big CM Punk like rebuttal. Is that saved for SmackDown or something?
They played the video on NXT tonight as well. The like yin and yang thing they're doing with Cena and Punk. They just showed that. I assume. I mean, they're probably on their way to Saudi already. You know, they're possibly already on their way there. So I imagine they'll be on SmackDown for the big go home out angle. You kind of want to let the pipe bomb breathe a little bit as well. There's probably only room for maybe one more segment before the match.
It was more of like a smoke bomb. I wouldn't, it wasn't necessarily, it was like, okay, cool. We like the idea of it, but not too much substance. I think he needs to go like scorched earth. And I was expecting that on SmackDown, but you're right. Maybe they want to give it some time and do it in the hot Saudi crowd. Hopefully that works, but I need that Punk really sounded heated after WrestleMania. That was a great Monday night promo, Raw after Mania. It was like, oh, calling Rock and Cena bald frauds. And then afterwards, when he comes through the curtain, Triple H is like, yeah, actually, Rock's not even involved in this at all. So maybe drop that part of it. But yeah, I don't see CM Punk winning at this match somehow. And maybe we do go to a rematch at SummerSlam with him, or I don't know. I just keep saying anyone could face Cena, or maybe we move on from this. I'm not sure.
So we've had a couple of changes to the Night of Champions card now. We now know the finals. We talked about Randy versus Cody Rhodes.
Yeah.
On the women's side of things, we've got Asuka versus Jade Cargill. Jade Cargill going over Roxanne Perez. We talk about this a lot, Jade's limitations. And I thought Roxanne, what she was able to get out of Jade yesterday was quite impressive, and it's a shame they're not going with Roxanne, if you're asking me, because I think she's fantastic. But I thought that match showed how good Roxanne Perez is to kind of get stuff out of that with Jade's limitations. But who do you see out there, Asuka and Jade?
I mean, I think maybe we were saying this on Sunday, but Asuka versus Io, do it. You just brought Asuka back with the sick face paint. The theme song is back, the good one, the sick one, like full Asuka in return. Why not? Io's the hottest thing, the champion. Let's go with it. That is a huge match. Really would look. WWE has not necessarily been my cup of tea this whole thing, but I'd say the women have been the best. Like maybe ever. Like the women this year have just shined so much. And you have Io leading the charge as champion, Rhea being popular as hell, NXT, obviously a whole other kind of ball game. But like the women in general, I think have really stepped up. And now you're saying like Roxanne's come in this Judgment Day thing, and she didn't win here, but give it time. I think Roxanne will be like multi-time champion and eventually be
she's in a good spot.
Like she'll be fine. She's gonna be a huge star when it finally clicks and everything. Like when the time comes. So I'm not worried at all. But I am really hyped if we go Asuka Io. That is a big one that we need to get to, and I think that would be a big solid match to add to the SummerSlam weekend.
Adam Pearce announced that the Intercontinental Championship match between AJ Styles and Dominic Mysterio has been postponed due to an injury sustained by Dominic Mysterio.
Oh, no.
Reports are haven't really confirmed what the injury is and how severe it is. People were questioning it if it's even storyline, perhaps, but that match has been pulled, and replacing it, we've got Sami Zayn versus Karrion Kross, which they've been building for quite a while, with Kross trying to turn Sami heel, and after losing to Randy in the tournament, Kross was like, well, what are you going to do next? So that match is going ahead, as well as Rhea Ripley versus Raquel Rodriguez in a street fight being added.
Nice. Okay. So yeah, Dominic, maybe he injured himself eating some chicken tendies. They were too hot. Something like that. Yeah. Again, I think Cena Punk really sells this. I mean, you know what? Cody, Randy sells this too. Those are two big.
I'd say that the tournament matches and Cena Punk. It's definitely a on the higher end of some of these Saudi shows. Like there is some interesting stuff there.
Yeah.
Just a shame with everything surrounding it, as always.
Yeah, no, but I see Cena retaining. I see Cody winning, possibly Cody Cena at SummerSlam.
Is there anything else before we get into NXT?
Yes, I know we had quite a long day. I know you even longer than me because technically you worked 3 jobs today. We had a bit of a side gig today. Shout out Outback, but we watched NXT today. But I had some time. I've been prepping, trying to watch all the Kenny Okada matches for our Patreon show, but I saw the buzz and I was really hyped about the Jun Kasai El Desperado death match from this like pay-per-view. New Japan helped put it on. It was very weird seeing Tanahashi present this Tanahashi just loves death matches now. I don't know what's changed.
Was he sitting on commentary with a tear in his eye, just smiling?
He was just smiling like somehow in the introduction. I would recommend this match. It's one of my matches of the year, just like similar to the way they had a death match a few years ago that everyone was raving about. But this time was the last one. There was white gear. That sounds weird. There was white colored gear and there was roses and light tubes. And honestly, this match was insane. So I would definitely recommend Jun Kasai El Desperado. Skewers, ladders. Oh my God. It was awesome. So that'll definitely be something I would recommend if you want to, I don't know, have your mind melted, because it's not for the faint of heart, definitely. But I thought that was pretty crazy, and maybe you're into that kind of stuff, or maybe not. But I really enjoyed it. And then I obviously we talked about Grand Slam Mexico and everything, and there's always the wrestling. TNA doing the cross promoted stuff with NXT and Trick Williams and Joe Hendry having a rematch, and we'll talk about that in Slammiversary. And then we got indie shows, Demand Lucha just doing a show, announcing some more in Toronto. We got tons of stuff popping off. So the wrestling never stops.
We will get into NXT, but I just wanted to share a quick anecdote, because the last show we did started on a pretty down note. So I wanted to lift it up a bit. I went to a baby shower last night.
Wow, congratulations.
A colleague of mine is she's going to be a single mother, so doesn't have a whole lot of friends or family in the city. So we wanted to throw her a bit of a baby shower, and it was fun. I wasn't feeling too good during the day, but I kind of rallied and actually had a very good time. They put the contractions machine on me to like simulate pregnancy, so I got to know what it feels like. So that was something. But then it's getting on later in the night. I'm tired. I might have had a bit of the devil's lettuce and just chilling out. And then one of the girls, very drunk, just hands a sash and a pen to me. You're like, you've got to write a message now
to the baby,
to the mother or something. It's like a sash for the mother to wear or whatever.
Sachet.
I've already written a card, and I've already. Earlier in the day when
you've already spent the $9 on a card.
Well, like writing like, hey, you're going to be a great mom. Your baby's super lucky to have you, blah, 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 blah. And I'm now like on the spot. I don't know what to write. I'm seeing what everyone else has written and I have to come up with something better. It's permanent marker. I start writing and I don't know where I'm going with it. And I just write, have a nice baby. And I'm like, what the fuck? Yeah, this is why men shouldn't be invited to these kind of things.
I told you what I told this story briefly last year. I went to my friends just had a baby and this baby's turning 1. But last summer I went to the baby shower and they told me that their son is named Carmelo. And then they were joking like, oh, Mello. So what? Same thing when they're like, oh, sign the big thing. It's a time capsule. I wrote, Mello, don't miss. wrestling shit in real life, and maybe no.
You
one
will
has
be
any
awesome.
Trust me, your baby, he's gonna be him.
Oh
Trust
boy,
me. Yeah. We're just dudes. Yeah, dudes at a baby shower.
Have a nice baby. Like, come on. I consider myself creative as well, and that's yeah. Anyway,
wow.
Anyway,
I think
it's time to move on to the Performance Center.
Absolutely. Let's talk about some NXT from Tuesday, June 24th, 2025. And we are starting things off. It's like Saturday night's main event here or something with the throwback insert promos.
Felt very old school, didn't it?
Yeah, with the little 10 seconds from each of the women in the 4-way tonight in the main event. Lash legend who says she's going to win tonight, skirt, and that she's going to go on to her hometown of ATL and win that NXT title. We see Izzi Dame. She says she's going to take the title to the culling, and then does this really weird pose. I don't know if she's going to doing yoga or something. Jaida Parker says that Jaida Parker's got next and that she's going to prove why she's the best. And Jordynne Grace says that she was the best everywhere else, and tonight she'll prove she's the best in NXT. So 4-way is our main event tonight between these 4 women, and the winner will face JC Jane at Evolution 2. Is that what it's called, or just Evolution again? We're just...
I've heard both. I've heard both being
2025.
Used. I love these kind of opens with the just setting up. This is the main event, a little snapshot. This is what each woman is fighting for. I always quite enjoy these. It does feel very old school. It feels very retro, but I appreciate it once in a while.
Yes, me too. Well, we start things off with the title match. The TNA champion, Trick Williams, defending against Josh Briggs. Last week, Inamura pinned Trick, and then Josh was like, hey, since you pinned the TNA champion, you should technically get a title shot against him. And Inamura was like, nah, don't really want it. Hey, do you want it? Because I don't give a shit. So Briggs was like, yeah, I'll do it. So tonight, Josh Briggs versus Trick Williams. Trick comes out, and Booker T, I'll just get it out the way, is on one tonight as he's doing the ad-libs. But he's now, the ad-libs have even ad-libbed he's got ad-libs for the ad-libs now, because the crowd are obviously doing the what? Yeah. And now he's doing say what? Yeah, man. He's just going off. It should be said that we do have a soft spot for Josh Briggs here, especially Brooks and Briggs. Never forget. Well, hopefully one day they get back together. We're really holding out. But Briggs brought back out of the Halloween closet the Smoking Skull, not the Stone Cold title, but the Dollarama skull with a burnt blunt, I guess, in it that's spewing out smoke. So he's got a smoking skull on one shoulder and Inamura on the other. With it's just not the if you're going through all this work to make this thing smoke and stuff, just put that money into just a better looking skull that doesn't smoke.
We thought it looked kind of lame the first, and this was a while ago. He wore this, right? I think it was the 4-way match, was it he had? Or I feel it's been a long time since he wore this, but yeah, I don't think it looks particularly great. It'd
be funny if the smoke coming out of it, he's trying to hit it, let me get a puff of that. But I like the creativity where we're going, but the execution is not necessary. It literally looks like Dollar Tree. We have Dollarama here in Canada. Is Dollar Tree the main one in the US? I think. I know Poundland. I learned that in the UK.
Yeah.
The best name of a store ever. Yeah, dollar stores in the UK are called Poundland. Yeah, I had a ball with that one. Trust me. So this skull from Poundland here, they probably have crazy dollar stores in Florida. Who am I kidding? So Josh Briggs versus Trick. I'm making fun of him, but I do love Josh Briggs, and this was a pretty fun match. We have Inamura ringside for this match, and Briggs is on the attack of Trick Williams, and he's hitting him. He hits a huge clothesline early on. They start running and hitting return clotheslines into the ropes against each other. Then Trick drop kicks Briggs to the outside. When we come back in the ring, there's a huge pump kick for a 2 count. Briggs comes back with his sidewalk slam and splash combo, goes for the choke slam, but it's blocked. And then Briggs counters a bomb, a power bomb, and they almost slip up, but Briggs seems to make it here and then hits a huge choke slam for a 2 count. I thought this was a pretty sweet counter and made the best of what happened. They eventually start to throw hands at each other, and then a huge boot by Briggs, but Trick comes back with the capoeira kick for a 2 count. Eventually, Briggs is up top, misses the moonsault, and Trick hits the trick shot for the win. Whoop that Trick. There's something that happens after, but before that, a fun match with Briggs here. Some cool hope spots.
Yeah, I quite enjoyed this. I thought it was one of Trick's better matches. I like seeing Briggs in this position. We've been saying for a while they should be elevating him up the card at this point, I think. Mm-hmm. And I thought both showed good physicality. And I think the time restraints of being on TV, they didn't have too long, which meant they were going for like big moves quite early on. Briggs's chokeslam looked awesome, considering the size of Trick Williams. He got so much height on that. But I've started to see Trick like adding some things to his arsenal that like every match he seems to be adding something else. He hit a couple of kicks in this match we haven't really seen him hit before. And yeah, I thought it was pretty good. I'm going to say what I always say. I hope we get more of Briggs. I hope they don't just, this is a one and done kind of title match and they drop him. I would like to see them go a little further with him.
Yeah, he definitely shows us like he's one of the better wrestlers. He's never been a bad wrestler. In fact, like some of the matches over the last few years, he's been in NXT for a while. I think of that 3-way at Stand and Deliver that like a lot of people keep calling back to and referencing. Like, say he was a major part of putting that match together. Like it seems like, so I do hope we get more of him. I think him and Inamura being featured lately has been kind of refreshing because broken record, the men's division in NXT for the last little while just doesn't feel like there's necessarily like the next big person or whoever outside of a few others. There's just, the division doesn't seem as hot or hyped, and having someone like Briggs who's pretty consistent whenever he wrestles on TV. So I would like to see them feature him even more so. And I'm sure we will get more Inamura and Briggs and stuff down the line, but we shall see. But after this match, cue the music. I didn't hear anyone say his name. I could be wrong, unless Vic Joseph or someone. That's usually what they do to play it up. But someone said Joe Hendry's name, and out comes Joe Hendry. And sorry, I think I messed this up. This is where Trick actually cuts a promo after the match and says, "Put some respect on my name," and says, "I'm the best TNA champ of all time." And this is when Joe Hendry comes out. He attacks him and sends Trick out to the outside, standing tall, and they promote Slammiversary featuring Trick defending against Joe Hendry. I believe they said that was coming up, but do you think they would just flip-flop it back to Joe, or do you think Trick has a bit of more of a run with this?
I do think this will be it for Trick's title run. I think they are going to put it back on Joe Hendry as Slammiversary. Slammiversary is one of their biggest shows of the year, right? And I think out of this relationship, they will want to give one of their TNA stars a big moment, and I could see it just going back to Joe at that show.
Yeah, like, so this is July 20th in New York. Where is this? UBS, Belmont Park. Is that Buffalo? I think. I'm not sure. But
UBS Arena?
Yeah.
Isn't that Long Island?
Oh, okay. My mistake. Sorry.
I might be wrong. Yeah.
Excuse my Canadianism, but New York is a giant state. Elmont, that's not helping. I don't know where Elmont is either. So I'm assuming you're right.
Yeah, it's where the Islanders play. So
okay, gotcha. Yeah. Nice. Oh, very nice. But yeah, so this is July 20th.
Big venue for this show as well. So they're going to want to stack this one.
Well, hopefully they do. But yeah, so far Moose versus Leon Slater for the X Division title and Trick versus Joe for the TNA title. So as cool as it is with WWE finally doing stuff with TNA, I think giving it back to them pretty quickly might be the better thing. Or you continue with Trick, but I don't know if, like, I could be totally wrong, but I just don't know if having Trick announced as your champion in your main event for TNA would sell tickets as much as maybe like certain other people. But I could, again, they could do a great number or whatever. But
I mean, you're not getting main roster guys doing this show, and I think Trick is the biggest star in NXT, so. I think it's the biggest name they could really give on the men's side, at least. Yeah, I guess so. Because we were saying last week, what if we go Trick versus Oba, like double title? That is potentially something that could still happen. But then the Santana thing ended controversially, so that could linger. Yeah, you could keep it on Trick.
So if you're thinking, well, Trick might be the best case scenario for TNA, then maybe you do keep it on him, because I don't necessarily know who on their side would be their other flag bearer other than Joe Hendry or Nick Nemeth or something like that. But yeah. So that is July 20th. There's bashes before that. So I don't know if we go to that match with Trick and Oba at that show necessarily that we were thinking. We go to Tavion Heights backstage. Ren is he's showing her. What did he get? Like a surgery done on his face? He had an accident in training, and Charlie is there, and Tavion's like, "Hey man, why'd you do this to my face?" And he's like, "It was a training accident, you know. And hey, if you can't make your match tonight, then I'll gladly fill in for you." And he goes, "No. Like, I'm gonna wrestle, and in fact, I have a mask made tonight so that I can still wrestle while wearing my protective face mask. So he will still be wrestling Javon Evans." But
I thought Tavion maybe needed to see some other people who have worn protective masks, because this one wasn't great, and he did seem to struggle with it in the match.
We will definitely get to discussing this mask. For a second though, when they showed his like lip, I was like, I don't know if you need a mask for that. I think you might need to like see a doctor. That looks like it could be like, what's when people get those cold sores on their lips?
Cleft lip?
Is it mono? No, not no. Like
herpes.
Yeah, but what's the mouth? The cold sore? Like you've been kissing too many people? Yeah. Like mono or something. I don't know, but it's just an injury from Charlie Dempsey. So the villain got him.
Could have got a cold sore from Charlie Dempsey for all we know. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not implying that, but again, when we discuss the mask a little bit later, interesting things.
Training accident.
Yes, exactly. We see Miles Bourne is backstage with George Gums. Or is my spell check completely wrecked?
Oh man, I managed to get half of the names here. I got George Gums Jr. And Tyreek, not Igwe. I didn't catch that. They pulled it from the screen before I could get the other bloke's name. Two Florida Gators. This is what? Kids football, essentially. Like
you probably offended one person. I've already made fun of Florida once tonight, so we need to calm down. But
yeah, it's the local kids football team. We're at NXT. Great.
George Gums Jr. and Tyreek Sapp with the Gators title, which looked very nice. You know, I always love the Gator. We're Canadians, always used to travel down to Florida quite a lot. I always loved the Gators just because my dad liked them. I knew nothing about them, but the Gators title looks nice. If you're a sports fan, these sports titles definitely they're hella nerdy, but like, you know, they're funny when the teams can get them and everything. But we got these two players. I don't know who they are, but Miles Bourne says, since you guys have been on the team, the Gators are back. I assume the Gators haven't been doing too great. Shout out Gator World in Florida. And he's all excited and says, you guys are great. And I know you're going to be, I don't know, high school champions, something like that. And then Lexus King walks in and he's like, hey, Miles. But Miles is just ignoring him. And he goes, oh, yeah, he's deaf. And Miles says, yeah, I can hear you. I just don't want to talk to you because I don't like people like you who take shortcuts. Jeez, Miles. Lexus says, well, these guys are losers just like you. And the Gators haven't done anything. And then he walks off. And the one guy says, I think George here says, is bro's beard painted? Which got pop out of me. I think that's a question we've asked on the show. Like, he definitely gets part of the beard painted, right? Like, but.
Yeah. What I found funny with this is, for all we know, these guys don't watch the show at all. So right. He probably doesn't know who Brian Pillman is or anything. And he's just like, sorry, that guy's painted his face. Like, is that normal around here? Like,
I don't know, but Gators have their fan. Like, you know, you're from the UK and you guys all love the footy and everything, but Americans love their like college sports and college football and all that.
Yeah, it's weird. Yeah.
NXT is kind of like college sports, you know? It's like it's the Degrassi High of WWE.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. Minor leagues. Yeah.
All right, so we go to Tavion Heights taking on Javon Evans, and the stipulation is if Tavion beats Javon, he can leave no quarter catch crew. This is sort of a like kidnapping situation here.
Yeah, was this no quarter catch crew or was this Team Taz? Because they were all sporting their black and orange tonight.
Very nice jackets. I forgot to mention Tavion was rocking a Ribera jacket earlier in the promo.
Okay,
because you know he
stays in Noah.
Yeah, he was over there. And remember, if you're a wrestler, they'll give you a jacket. I know that you can't just go and buy one. I won't say I know firsthand, but many people have told me they've tried, and I really want to try because I want one of those jackets. But you can buy knockoffs, but this one looked nice, whether it was knockoff.
There are replicas on eBay, yeah.
Yeah, they're very nice. So Tavion versus Javon Evans. And we mentioned Tavion had the training injury, so he has a protective face mask. And I really hope this was legit and he didn't want to get hurt and still wrestle, so they made him wear this. But instead of wearing a dashing Cody Rhodes or a Kane the Undertaker style face mask, Tavion Heights comes out in a leather doggy mask. I don't know how any other way to say this, but it is Pride Month. We have seen these on Church Street a few times when we're like, oh my God, what are these leather dog faces? And I don't know how else to explain what this looked like, but it looks like those leather dog masks that I have seen people wear outside on the streets sometimes, which is a weird, but we live in Toronto, progressive city. So these leather dog masks now have made it to wrestling. The dog mask. It's kind of scary. It's kind of freaky. It's very Pulp Fiction.
But I guess it's unusual because normally when we see people in wrestling wearing the mask, it's an orbital injury, right? Whereas his eyes are fine here. It was his mouth that they needed to protect. So it was going to look different. It was certainly different. I mean, it's there to protect him for sure. So at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what it looks like. But I did notice him kind of struggling wrestling with this. Like he was fixing it a lot, and understandably so. He's not used to it, but did look a little odd.
Like if it's the lip, okay, so you want like a face mask like it's COVID times, or like a Scorpion Sub-Zero from Mortal Kombat. But I guess to actually wrestle in it, you had to have like a strap that was up that way, because that's what makes it just look. It looks like he's a dog. It literally like a dog gimp mask. And I'm not kink shaming anyone here. That's just what this mask looked like. And again, I have seen people in public. I have seen Pulp Fiction. It looks very similar to that, but the guy got to still wrestle while injured. And I love watching this guy wrestle. So enough of making fun of his mask, but I'm hoping I don't have to see this mask again on TV. I hope his injury.
Yeah, get that lip issue sorted.
It kind of freaked me out a little bit. I was like, man, let's get rid of this leather dog.
Get those antibiotics you need.
It was just so like a few years ago when Forbidden Door was in Toronto, we had a bunch of our friends come out to Toronto and hang out, and it was around this time. It was literally like June 20 something, right? And we all walked around the streets of Toronto. We had a group of all of our friends listening, and I'm sure some of our friends are listening right now, and remember exactly. And we were walking, and we saw people wearing some crazy things. Some people not wearing anything at all. Church Street, Wild Pride, and all that. But then we saw the dog masks, and I think it freaked Fire Frank out just a little bit.
Yeah.
Again, not kink shaming, but I hope Tavion Heights' lip gets better. But this was a pretty awesome wrestling match between Tavion Heights, Javon Evans. Right away, Tavion, he might be wearing the dog mask, but he's got some pretty cool orange Taz gear, like you said. Side slamming Javon here, these like side chain wrestling moves. Very nice wrestling, showing off his skills. Javon eventually sends him to the outside and hits a huge dive as we go into picture-in-picture. Javon on the attack, but then Tavion comes back with a flying clothesline and kind of trying to grind down on Evans, who eventually comes back with a series of kicks and then does his handspring into the like enziguri. We always say he just needs a flashy name for this one because it is one of his very impressive moves. Eventually, he knocks Tavion down, goes up top as the crowd chant bouncy, and your boy is bouncy. He hits this crazy-looking corkscrew splash for the 1-2-3, and the hostage situation continues as Tavion Heights is forced to remain in the no quarter catch crew.
Yeah, commentary were really putting over Tavion Heights in this match. Like this was a great effort, and he almost had Javon. I didn't quite see that in the actual match. I thought commentary were really like trying to sell him. We've seen great stuff from Heights. I didn't think he looked bad here, but I didn't necessarily think this was the showcase breakout match that commentary were trying to make it out to be. But I get that your commentary's there to try and enhance people, and you kind of listen to what they say and you're influenced by it. But I kind of wanted a bit more from Heights in this match.
I also agree. I do think he has a lot more in him than this, but it maybe timing issues in the show and everything. But I think down the line, there's like I'm interested in seeing this guy's wrestling evolve and them doing the whole Japan thing. Booker T is very strong and like, oh yeah, he's wrestling Japan, therefore like he's earned his stripes kind of thing. And like I want to see more from this guy. Eventually, we got to get to him beating Charlie to leave this no quarter catch crew. But look what happens when you leave no quarter catch crew. You just start hanging out with college athletes and football players. So like, I guess the college athletes are also in NXT. But like, what do these guys do if they leave this group because they were kind of good together as a group, you know? So I don't know, but fun match. But I kind of agree, it didn't get to like a level I think these guys could get to, but I think they're cooling Javon down because they're gonna wait till we eventually get to like a bigger story and run from him eventually. But talking about story, we got to talk about a love story, friends, foes, and the mafia. Tony D'Angelo, Stacks. So this was supposed to be Stacks versus Noam Dar. And last week we said, hey, remember Noam Dar? And yeah, we were excited to see him back and see some supernova. Unfortunately, that's not the case. He has been injured, as Ava has said over the weekend on social media, that he is no longer the Heritage Cup champion. I didn't even see what the injury was, actually. But
no, but he's just come back. This is unfortunate.
Yeah.
Hoping it's nothing serious, but like Noam was out for quite a while last year, and to come back, he's only been back a few weeks and injured already is really unfortunate.
Yeah, from Ava, it says due to injury, and she didn't necessarily speculate, but like thinking back, he has been injured for quite a majority of his time, like in this company. Like he's been injured a lot. That's really, really unfortunate, and I'm sure that's weighing in on him a lot. But all the power to Noam Dar. That's
what I did find funny though was I saw the announcement on Twitter and I saw this video that Luca Crucifino posted from, I think, his car saying,
his car, yes.
You know, I'm trying to make it up to you. I've got you this Heritage Cup match. But I saw the like tweet as Noam Dar vacates, and then I see this video, and Luca with his hair down did resemble like Noam with his hair down a little. And I had to double take. I'm like, wait, is that Noam got a crazy tan? And oh no, that's Luca Crucifino.
no, that's an Italian.
Yeah.
Or an American playing more of an Italian. Yeah, they kind of like they didn't really explain. I felt like they downplayed Noam Dar a whole lot on this. Like they really didn't go into it. Yeah, Noam Dar's gone.
I imagine because we were gonna get this onto him anyway. Yeah. Do you see what I mean there? I'm just, for those audio listeners, I'm just showing the picture of Luca.
He's a very handsome man.
Yeah,
like,
very good looking guy.
Look at that hair. He could play like a gladiator, Roman Reigns or something.
Yeah.
Very nice. Yeah, I thought it was very like true wrestler cutting the okay, quick, we need to change the story. Can we get you guys in to film something? Well, we can't come in until Tuesday. Okay, well, why don't you just film a promo from your car? Like most wrestlers do their cameos. I love it. I love it so much.
So what I was getting at is I Stacks was going to be the champion after tonight, regardless, I think. So maybe that's why they've kind of played down this Noam Dar injury a little bit.
Yeah, you know what this like hate-fueled grudge rivalry between two mob bosses needs? The Heritage Cup. We need to feud over rounds matches. The Heritage Cup. That's really where we're going with this story. I think we've said it. Like we like Tony and we like Stacks, but this is a whole. This brings a showdown for me lately.
I'm definitely higher on the rounds matches and Heritage Cup than you are, but I completely agree. Like this doesn't fit either of these guys or the story or whatever. Like it was fun having Lexis King take it to sort of abolish the rounds and stuff because it's a heelish move, but it should be used like it's their pure title essentially, right? And it should be used for your Charlie Dempsey's, your Tavion Heights, your Miles Bournes, like those kind of characters. I think it feels really jarring being used for this feud.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like these guys they're talking about burying people in the desert and consigliaries and I don't know, all these mafia shit. And then it's like, now we're feuding over the rounds cup. It's like, oh, well, it kind of brings it back down to just not being serious. I don't know. That's just me. Well, we're going into this match, but that won't happen just yet because first, this is the Revolution. We got Ricky Starks versus Tahuti Miles, Ricky Saints versus Ashante the Adonis, and Corey Graves here. I'm not sure what happened, but Corey mentions Booker T hurt his knee and then starts laughing. And Booker was like, don't you talk about my knee. I was like, whoa, what's
Yeah, he was
and then starts to laugh. And I was like, what
dance moves and like learn it from Book, but Book, you can't hit them tonight, can you?
And then says like, I bet you have the song Pretty Girls on your Spotify or something. And Booker's like, yeah. And Booker just starts going off about the Medulla Oblongata, Vic Joseph with the Bobby Boucher references. And there was a little off the rails, but I don't know. Booker T just does it. What would NXT like this be without Booker T at this point? You know? He's
possibly better, but yeah, sure.
Yeah, I thought you'd say that. Ricky on the attack early hits his strut old school attack off the ropes here. There's then a picture-in-picture, and finally Ashante gains control. He keeps walking around and punching him. I will say Ashante makes me laugh with just the way he looks and the way he kind of dances coming out. That's what Booker was referencing with Corey Graves. But his offense is always just like punches. Walking around. He doesn't do anything necessarily too flashy. I guess he just like, I'm a heel, fuck it. So he does hit a DDT. And then I guess I was wrong because what's the move Okada does where it's like the AA, the FU, but into like a brain buster? It's called the cash out here, but not enough to
put
them
heavy rain?
It's kind of similar to heavy rain. Yeah, I think similar to that, but like a brain buster attitude adjustment. So maybe I was wrong. Tahuti busting out some big stuff, but it's only a 2 count. We have Ricky comes back with a huge clothesline and then a crazy tornado DDT followed up by the spear and the Rochambeau. And Ricky Saints makes quick work of Ashante the Adonis. And before the after, anything from this match?
Yeah, 2 quick work for me. I think Ashante is in a weird spot. Like he's been in this company a while now, but has always been floating around. And I think we've seen glimmers of him being quite good. But I didn't think this match did anything for him. But in the process, I don't think it really did anything for Ricky Starks. Like Ricky came in as a big deal. He hasn't been in the company that long. He's had this pretty much been tied up with Ethan Page majority of the time. And I think he could really do with just a couple of like just fun, great TV matches. And here he made very light work of Ashante, and I just didn't think it didn't really showcase either guy.
Yeah, I love seeing Ashante and the stuff. Like he's funny. I find him funny, and I don't know what they do with him. And I think they're maybe at an ends of like, what do we do with this guy? But he didn't show me too much other than that brainbuster move, the cash out, whatever that is. Just do more of that. But I didn't say it wasn't very impressive from Ricky. Like he hit his best of like the DDT and the Rochambeau and whatever. But the story comes after where Ricky's celebrating in the ring after winning when his music stops and Ethan Page appears on the video screen and he's talking to Ricky and he says, "Oh, Ricky, I have something to say to you." And the video starts to glitch and the commentary are like, "Oh, hey, sorry, we're having technical difficulties here." And you always wonder what would happen during these promos when the guy is talking to the person in the ring on the screen, like what would happen if this gets out of sync or whatever? Well, that was not the case, but it was a distraction from Ethan Page, who attacks Ricky Starks. Got a great reaction out of me. I was like, oh, I actually bought that there was some sort of technical glitch for like a split second there. Like, oh, wait a second. He attacks Ricky here and beats him up, and Ethan Page hits Ricky with his own move, the Rochambeau, leaves him laying. I really like this attack spot.
I loved it. I don't think I've seen this before.
Yeah.
And normally when it's technical difficulties, it's just, lights off, lights on. But this was we've had it on our podcast where one person's just
frozen. Yeah.
And they did that with Paige here. Yeah. And for a second, I bought it. I was like, this has gone wrong.
Yeah.
I thought it was a great sort of I'm bored of distraction attacks, but this one really worked for me.
I've been loving this like new Ethan Page, the real Ethan Page that we've been getting lately with attacking people and everything. And I think we'll get to where it's going in a little bit, but more on Ethan Page later. But really, I didn't think too much of the Ashante Ricky Saints match, but I really did like this take on the way they tricked us into thinking there was some sort of technical difficulty, but it was really just heel work from Ethan Page. Good stuff. Good stuff. Effective heel work. Unlike this video from Dark State. Remember them? They say, we got something cooking up for y'all. And they say, sooner rather than later, Dark State will be front and center. And they say that the heat is rising and the pot is boiling. Ain't nobody safe. Don't know if that's a double negative, but ain't nobody safe in NXT. I imagine a tag title run in the near future.
Something. I need this to move forward. I feel this has been at this level for way too long. It's videos talking about how everyone's got to watch their back and we're Dark State and we're gonna run this place, and then we get an occasional attack or we get a match that by the next week we've completely forgotten about. We need to start progressing this thing. I think this got off to such a rocky start, such a hot cold start. I think there is maybe potential in a couple of people in this group, but so far I keep forgetting this group even exists.
Yeah.
So let's start pushing this forward, actually having a sustained story with someone. And if it's tag title run, so be it.
I think that's the best case we should go. Like, there isn't really a tag division right now. Hank and Tank are the champs. Spoilers, they get attacked later and we don't know who. So it's another whodunit.
It's these guys, yeah.
We would imagine it's these. They say we're going to be front and center soon. So tag titles, hopefully soon, to get something out of it. It's not working for me, but like maybe this could be turned around. But not a complete dead end, but it's not necessarily great so far. We have Oba Femi, the NXT champion, makes his way to the ring. Great walk. He has a microphone. Yes. We always say, everyone's doing the Penta walk now, but the NXT fans walk around the house like Oba Femi. He has the microphone. He says, since January 7th, I've been NXT champion, and I've put down any challenger from the best that TNA has to offer. NXT, SmackDown, main roster, it doesn't matter. One by one, they come and they fall. They are just footnotes in my reign, and says that most people, if they were me, they would just coast and bask in this, but not me, not the ruler, because the ruler is not any man. I get restless because I have no contenders and no competition. So he says, anyone out there who thinks they got the balls, like, come out. And that's when Yoshiki Inamura comes out. He says that I came back to NXT to chase glory. I went home, but I'm back because I have the passion, and I love the passion of NXT and the passion of the fans. And I came back to be NXT champion. Oba says, you've had your struggles, but you came back to embrace the passion because you want to chase that glory. And this is when there's like a weird noise. I thought this was another technical distraction from Ethan Page, but I don't know if someone had a vuvuzela in the crowd or something, but it was a weird, like, technical thing. I saw people in the audience like their ears were ringing or something. But the promo continues, and he says that maybe you're ready and maybe you have it, but maybe you can feel the passion and feel, my pain, my wrath. And Inamura ends this by saying, I am ready, as his music hits and they stare down. But as Inamura goes to leave, Jasper Troy, chains attack Inamura, and then he gets up on the apron and he stares down Oba and says, we're not finished yet. I'm not finished with you yet. So Oba Femi, Inamura coming soon, but not before Jasper Troy has anything to say about it.
Yeah, so it is confirmed later in the night that next week we've got a number one contenders match between Jasper Troy and Inamura, which does cast slight doubts with Inamura for me, because they are putting a lot behind Jasper Troy. He did just lose his title match against Oba Femi, but then I don't know if you want to go to that rematch right away as well. Yeah, I'm wondering if I feel like I keep saying this, but do we get Briggs' turn on Inamura? Is that coming next week? Is Briggs costing him the match? Where do you see this going?
Why would you even think that? Why would you want that to happen? Come on.
Because it's like, you never really wanted to come back for me. You wanted to come back for the NXT title.
He's not wrong. Like the last few weeks, he's like, "Oh, I'm so happy to see you," and he's just like, "Yeah. I don't really care about you. I'm here for bigger things." It's like, "Oh, okay, cool. Well, I thought we were friends." I don't know. I kind of want to see Inamura versus Oba 1-on-1.
Me too.
I don't know if we would go Jasper Troy versus Inamura versus Oba at the pay-per-view. I think that might not be the best. But
I hope Oba meant what he said in the last PLE cycle, where he went, "I am done with triple threat matches or multi-man matches."
True, yeah.
But it could be a direction.
I'd much rather watch Inamura versus Oba if that's the case. That would be Great American Bash, we're assuming, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. Maybe we're contradicting ourselves because we're like, week by week, oh, we need more stars in the men's division in NXT. And then here they are trying stuff. And we're like, Jasper Troy, though.
Like, I mean, he's so new. They obviously see something in him. I haven't particularly liked the presentation. I don't like his gear. And I don't think, you know what got me? Look, I'm a fan. I've got some wacky underwear I like wearing, like bright, nothing kinky, just, bright and colorful. I'm wearing one today with like pina colada on it and sunshines and that kind of thing. Jasper Troy comes in. He's wearing his shitty black vest and shitty black jeans with chains on, probably. He's beating people up, looking mean. And he's walking to the back and his jeans are halfway down his ass. And he's just got bright blue and green,
green
NXT
underwear,
2.0 paint splatter underwear. And you're just like, come on, man.
Hey, everyone wears underwear.
I'm a bright, happy, cheerful guy. That's where I get away with wearing wacky underwear. But you're meant to be this tough, mean son of a bitch on this show. And I'm like, sorry, dude, you lost me with your underwear. Underwear means a lot. Roddy Strong,
Roderick Strong, though.
Red CKs, fuck yeah, that's cool.
The red ones, yeah.
Don't know.
We learned in wrestling, Roderick Strong taught me in NXT that when you have red, you have the Marty McFly, Calvin Klein red, like boxers on, Calvin's on, like you fucking tonight. You're like you saving the whole squad, you saving the world essentially, because Roderick Strong, when he has that red underwear on, he can't be stopped. So maybe Jasper Troy, his power comes from the green underwear. I'm not sure, but I tend to wear a lot of black clothing, but I do love bright underwear. There's something just nice about it, right? Like I'm wearing my Bret Hart shorts right now. It's hot
my socks as well can be a little, especially when, like, if you're working in an office or something, you need to brighten it up. Not that I work in an office, but
Yeah. Shout out colorful underwear. Just when you're trying to be some big, I think it's in my own head, but like he comes out like he's the ghost of Christmas past or something with these chains. I've said it before, but like now he's got green underwear. We're just nitpicking this guy for no reason, but maybe he'll be something good. We don't know, but I don't know. I'm not that excited about that right now. I do think Inamura versus Oba is the more interesting match. We go backstage and we see Izzi Dame. She walks up to Tatum Paxley and says, "Hey, I got a gift for you." And it's a doll, a blonde doll. Kind of looks like Izzi, actually. And she says, "I got a question for you, Tatum. How would you feel about being in my corner tonight?" And Tatum's like shocked, like, "Oh." When Soul and Zarya show up and like, "You can't be serious. How could you do this?" And Izzi says, "Oh, you can't be serious because you're only sharing a title with your friend Soul," referring to Zarya, and says, "Come on, Tatum." And so Tatum walks off and finds Nico and Spears. And she's like, that's how, "Hey, this is Nico and this is Spears." And I was like, oh no, did they WWE his name? They just calling him Spears now? No, that's not
Nico and Spears. That's a buddy cop show if I ever heard one.
That's definitely something. That's a definite Nico and Spears. Yeah. They say, Tatum, we've heard a lot about you. So possibly Tatum Paxley joining the cult.
Yes.
The cult. Yeah.
Former tag team in a show with no tag division, yes.
You mean the women? Maybe they're just going to help each other out. Division, yeah, they're just going to help each other out. All right. We'll see. We go more backstage. Trick and High Rise. And Trick says he's furious about what happened last week. He says, "I ain't going out like that. Inamura pinned me off that splash, and I was pissed. And Wes is like, I'm sorry. We had a lot going on in that match. He's like, yeah, a lot going on. I lost. I got pinned. And then he says, and then tonight I took care of Briggs, but then Average Joe appears. And then they start to look around, especially Wes. I thought he was pretty funny here because once you say his name, it's like Candyman or Beetlejuice or whatever. And Wes says, don't worry. Next week, I'll show Joe and just how much we believe. And then he looks around again because they're worried and says that I'll take care of Joe. And Trick says, y'all will take care of Joe, meaning all of you both. And if you do, I'll owe you one. And Wes says, it ain't no thing. So Wes is going to face Joe Hendry next week to soften him up before Slammiversary for Trick. And Trick is saying, if you do that, I'll owe you a favor too. So we'll see if that actually happens.
Yeah, I'll see how it plans out. We say a lot of the time, like, Wes seems miscast. I don't like the idea of him being like a underling to Trick Williams.
It's so weird, right? Yeah.
I like Joe makes sense of it later in the show. If it's like skipping to his promo where he's like, I'm going to remind Wesley where he came from, that he, was a TNA star and stuff. But I'm intrigued by the match. But yeah, the Wesley direction just baffles me.
Well, we go to our Heritage Cup match, the vacant Heritage Cup. Shout out Supernova Rolla. We have Tony D taking on Stax in a battle of trust, a battle of family. Once again, Stax comes out. He's got I made so many jokes last week. Said they look like the Outsiders, like not Scott and Nash, but like the book, the movie, The Outsiders. And Vic Joseph kept calling them the Outsiders this week because that's what they're dressed like. They're dressed like greasers, Deuce and Domino. So they're out there with Stax again, and Tony has Luca, but Luca isn't out there yet. Like he because of the beef.
Yeah, I like the presentation with Stax here. New music, like this, like big build to him coming out, the yellow lights. I thought, and as far as current themes go, I thought this one sounded pretty good and kind of suits the new attitude of Stax. It's
just so funny with these guys. Like they're dressed like West Side Story. Like they're dressed like Grease. It's like they're not dressed like all the other Italian mobsters. They're all in the white wife beater. I don't know, it's funny. It's a funny visual, but it's wrestling. So Heritage Cup, meaning there's rounds matches. Round 1, Stax beats down on Tony as he's yelling, "Who's the Don now, huh? Who's the Don now?" Tony comes back with a back body drop and then tries to beat down on him, but hits a belly to belly, and then they start to hockey fight as the round 1 ends here. As the break between the rounds here, Stax manages to slap Tony in between the match, which pisses him off. And as round 2 starts, Tony is vicious, beating him out, throwing Stax to the outside, hits a spear, and Vic says his monitor might be broken here. And after Tony spears him really quickly, he pins Stax to get 1-0 in this rounds match. As we go into round 3, Vic, this must have been Netflix picture in picture because Vic Joseph asks Booker T what he's eating right now, but I don't know if he gave him a reply. It was probably the TGIFs. As the match continues, Stax goes on the attack and distracts the ref as the greasers are beating down on Tony here. The crowd start to chant, "I'm blind, I'm deaf, I'm born to be a ref," I think is what they're chanting here because the ref didn't see.
I did. Oh, is that what they were chanting? Right. Okay.
There's a knee stomp from Stax, but it's only a 2 count as the round ends. So it's round 4, and Tony is still winning 1-0. And this is where Stax attacks the knee right away and then hits an inside cradle to tie it up 1-1 as we go into round 5. This is where Tony, getting revenge, throwing him around, hits a spine buster, but can't pin him. And then I thought this was pretty funny. I guess that's why he has this group of outsiders to do this spot. The spot they used to do as a tag team where you go, I love you, Stax, gives him a kiss and throws him onto the greasers onto the outside. This is when they start to circle Tony like a shark. When Luca Crucifino comes out and he tussles with them, he grabs the bucket, the spit bucket, and accidentally, quotation marks, swings it, hitting Tony in the head or in the back maybe. The ref didn't see it, and it allows Stax to hit a running Shining Wizard to the back of the head. A very nice finisher from Stacks here. For the 1, 2, 3 and your new Heritage Cup champion, Stacks. But the real question coming out of this, did Luca do that on purpose? And I sure hope this leads to Luca doing it on purpose, because this looked really bad. Him swinging the bucket was like,
So they need to work on these things when you're doing this kind of thing, unless it was on purpose.
Yeah, I think
because
it may have been.
You could see him keep on looking behind him. Is Tony there? Is he ready for the spot? And it could be the performer of Luca Crucifino waiting to make sure if Tony is in position for the spot.
Yeah.
Or it could be the character Luca Crucifino. I want to accidentally look like I'm hitting him here. We'll find out soon, I'm sure. But yeah, I do find just in general, finishes like this, they do look so contrived, and just practice it a little bit more to make it look more accidental. Unless in this case, it was meant to look that way.
It's got to be. Like Luca has, they got to go in the direction that Luca is with Stacks, that Rizzo is with Stacks. Like that's in my mind, that's the only way we go with this silly story. After the match, Luca's like, Tony, I'm so sorry. And Tony punches him in the face. And then it cuts to Stacks on the apron, on the stage entranceway, and just kind of shrugs. He's like, I don't really care.
I like that they've given something to Stacks, giving him a championship run, even if it is this cup. I thought the match was fine. We need a meeting in WWE. Okay, 3 guys can have the spear. Who is it going to be? Because, we've seen Tony hit the spear before, I think, but not really finish a match with a spear. Pick up a fall with it, you've got Ricky Starks earlier in the show hitting a spear. Same goes with code breakers. Everyone hits a code breaker now. Can we limit this, especially in NXT? You're in the performance center with each other every single day.
Right.
Maybe Sean just sit him down and it's like, Tony, you ain't a spear guy. Bron Breakker, he's a spear guy. Let's keep it on him.
I'm sure it's like, who's to claim moves and this and that, but already it's established as a finisher for some guys on the main roster for the last 10 years. Roman Reigns easily comes to mind. If anything, it was now Braun's got the spear, but no one's complaining because he's got the best one. But we could. Is there not a class that is all right, today you're gonna look, Stephanie Vaquera, you're great, but your finisher needs work. So we're gonna come up with creative finisher day. Yeah. And I don't know, back when you got the video games, when that was still a feature, I know people would just make it so it's all the 10 steps that you can pick are just transitional until it's just a slap or kick in the face or something. But new finishers is a thing. Moves people do. Maybe Sean just doesn't want people doing super kicks as much, so that's why we're getting more code breakers and stuff. But you're right, there are a lot of the same moves lately. Maybe all the good moves are taken, that could be a thing. But Stacks wins. I'm happy. I do like Stacks. I do eventually want to move away from this story. Again, don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. And we got to find out what the hell happened to Rizzo. Where is she? When will we see her? We go backstage. Fatal Influence. We get a recap of when they attacked Blake Monroe last week. JC Jane says that this is our division, and that Blake says glamour is forever. Well, nothing is forever. And Evolution is a historic show. And I watched the first one and I thought to myself, if there's going to be another one of these, I'm going to damn sure make sure I'm on it. And I am. And it doesn't matter who wins tonight because I'm going to win in Atlanta. And says they're going to be watching the match tonight from the perch here. But I like that. That's, a true thing. People saying, I was watching that show. It was a big deal to me. I like that. It's probably true.
I'd like to actually start hearing more of that across the brands. This is the second all-women pay-per-view. It's been 7 years since the last one. So let's build it up. We have the WrestleMania moments, the Rumble moments, and that. I want to be walking in and walking out of this show, this historic show as champion. And so I thought this show felt like the first time we've across all the brands actually paid some attention to Evolution.
Yeah, I figure they should be. I mean, it's only a few weeks away, right? Yeah. They kind of should put some.
I mean, you started the Bella angle, but the Liv injury, obviously, and we see Lyra and Bailey and Becky going that way. But it's still we haven't. This is the first match I think that's actually been announced.
Yeah, we'll maybe talk about some speculation what we think might get added, but we will find out. One match has been officially announced, but who is it? We'll find out. What we go to Thea Hale backstage, rightfully so. I kind of forgot about this until she was arguing about like, yeah, I was screwed last week. I was like, oh yeah, remember she tapped out Jaida, but the ref didn't see it.
That's right, yeah.
So she's arguing to a bunch of people listening backstage, and she's talking about it when Lainey Reed comes in, and she starts talking about like, oh, what are you whining about? And says that she's new here and that she wants to make a name for herself. When Lash Legend steps in and says, both you ain't nothing. Don't worry. Just watch what I do later, and I'll prove that I'm the big star around here. So they're going to try to focus on some of these characters. I don't know where we go with Thea right now, but it was a creative finish with that tap out.
So is Lainey meant to be a heel, or is she calling out on Thea for being a bit of a whinge bag here?
True. Yeah. Like it's kind of been that way. Like she slapped JC the other week. So like that's kind of babyface, but here she's kind of shitting on Thea, but Thea's, I don't know. Yeah. I don't know.
Justice for Thea. We need more Thea.
Justice for Thea. Absolutely. We see Ava, our GM. She chases after Ethan Page. She's like, Ethan, what the hell was that? You attacked Ricky? What's going on? And Ethan shrugs. He's like, yeah, that guy pushes my buttons. So, I did like my least amount of work. That was just like a little thing, that wasn't, my best work kind of thing. I just did a little thing. She's like, sorry, that was a little thing. Like, yeah, I didn't actually like attack him that bad. I just hit him with his own move. I didn't like injure him or anything, which I thought was pretty funny.
It's the equivalent of us going like, yeah, we'll take it easy tonight. Just 5
just one beer.
Just a few shots of Finette. Yeah, it'll be fine.
We'll go for one. It was a light night tonight. Yeah. Oh, true. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I went easy on Ricky here. And she's like, that's going easy on him. And says, you know what? I want that guy furthest away from me as possible. And she goes, well, you know what? Next week, I'm going to have both of you in my office at the same time. And he's like a little shocked by that and says that I have some things that are going to happen. And he says like, yeah, I want him we can't get along. And then when she walks off, he goes on his phone and is like, hey, Siri, text Vanity Project. And he starts to leave them a voice note. And I just imagine, I'm not saying this is a heel thing to do. It's 2025, but whenever in wrestling, as soon as someone's like the Paul Heyman, like Siri, talk to Vanity Project, it's such a heel thing. Like, I don't know why.
You know what it used to be? You'd have heels wearing the Bluetooth headset.
Yes.
Like it's just something about the laziness of not even using your hands. It's just, and the other person there, like while you're talking to them, oh yeah, Siri. It's weird. Like, why is it? Remember scarves used to be a heel thing. Jericho would wear a scarf because Vince just decided like, ugh, you're wearing a scarf. You're a heel. Like,
yeah,
there's weird things, but it's completely right. Like it should be.
Should
be a heel.
Someone right now is like, "Hey, it's so much easier."
I use Siri all the time.
Yeah, I don't want to make it. It just is a heel thing when he's like, "Siri, text Vanity Project." I'm like, yeah, a heel would do that. I do imagine we're gonna go to some sort of loser leaves NXT match. Ethan Page, Ricky Saints, like NXT's not big enough for the both of them.
It makes sense for the story because it's like, look, Ava's like, I can't have both of you here. Like you're ruining the show every week. Like one of you needs to go. So loser gets promoted match is what it really is. Right?
Loser joins Seth Rollins stable match.
Yeah. Loser, yeah. Maybe help Seth find a name for his group match. Yeah.
Right. I don't know. Like Ethan has been here longer, so there's a lot less for him to do in NXT. But I finally think he's clicking. Whereas if it was this version of Ethan Page on the main roster, I think it would really work. And I don't necessarily know if he would be the guy to put with Seth, but I think either of these guys could be fine on the main roster. I do think Ava will be announcing next week a loser leaves NXT match, like titles on the line, and the loser has to leave and goes to the main roster. And there's a draft coming up. One of these guys will be drafted. I would put Ethan, but now I'm liking the Ethan Vanity stuff. I think they attack Ricky next week, or at least try to, or have some sort of match, right, with Ricky, because he was on Siri with them. So we'll see.
Yeah, what, like Ricky's got who would he get against Vanity Project?
What's one of their names? Ricky Smokes versus Ricky Saints.
Yeah.
It's a WrestleMania main event right there. Ricky Smokes Best name. That might be the best name in wrestling. Ricky Smokes.
Not Nico and Spears.
Nico and Spears, and not as good as Ricky Smokes. That's got to be it. No one, you can't tell me a better name. Oh wait, we did a review of the original Worlds Collide, and I was going on Madonna's boyfriend is possibly the best wrestler name of all time. So it's between Ricky Smokes and Madonna's boyfriend. You can't tell me otherwise. There's probably some sort of Brutus the Barber gimmick out there with a funnier name, but anyways. Joe Hendry is backstage. He's being interviewed. He says he's great to be back in NXT, and he says that I can't control the past, but I can control the future. Of course, I'm upset that Trick took the title, and Trick keeps showing up in TNA, so I thought I would return the favor. And at Slammiversary, I will regain my TNA championship. And next week, I'll remind Wes, who has history in TNA, just exactly why these people believe in Joe Hendry and why I'm the next champ. So Joe versus Wes next week. He's fired up. I felt like he didn't get quite a big reaction this week. I don't know if it's just the smaller crowd here, the same kind of smart NXT fans. I guess I shouldn't use the word smart all the time, but he doesn't feel like he's part
of the furniture now, isn't he, at this point?
Yeah, it doesn't feel as like, has Mr. Iguana stolen the meme popular like flavor of the Fandango?
Maybe. I mean, also this title match isn't happening on NXT. I think we've seen quite a bit of Joe Hendry over the last year, where he just feels like another part of the roster, really, at this point.
Yeah.
I've had that sense for a while. Like, I haven't been particularly excited to see him. It's interesting match. You've got to go with Joe Hendry because he's the one challenging for the title. But as I said earlier, it's just sucks to be Wes. Yeah,
absolutely. Like, Wes could be someone who could be TNA champion just because of the history. I mean, obviously he's not in TNA now, but neither is Trick. But anyways, we have a video from Chase U. We're back in the classroom here. We hear a generic rock theme 14 when Kale and Uriah are studying. We get slow-mo of them studying. Very crazy. We have Andre Chase, who says, I want to address last week. This is all new for me. I'm sure it's new for you. And, I just, the toughest road create champions, and we need to toughen the fuck up, as they censor him. And Uriah's like, man, you're tripping. Who the fuck? Sorry, this is what Chase says. Uriah, who the fuck do you think you are? Respect my university. And you got to respect the attitude that built this university. Yeah, well, we do, but we also know what destroyed it. And then they walk out of class again. And as Uriah and Kale walk past the classroom door, you see Andre come into the frame and looks and can overhear them, thinking they're only talking to themselves. They say, oh, man, I thought it would be different. And, I refer to this as Degrassi High quite often, but this was the most Degrassi. I snorted, laughed out loud at this moment of almost like Safe by the Bell moment where it's like Andre overheard something he shouldn't have. And all you needed was like, as we
you had the break. Bubble as well come off of the memories of the old Chase U. And it's so like, I wasn't sure what they were upset about last week because we've seen Andre Chase dropping the F-bombs and stuff with these guys and stuff. And they've been wanting the old Andre Chase back. And now
I don't get it.
It was a bit out of nowhere. Now we're telling the story of Whiplash, right? It's like with Andre Chase as J.K. Simmons and Miles Kale Teller here, who, it's like, do you need to be tough to mold these students into fine wrestlers, or will you, if you positively coach them, will they reach the levels, the heights that they're possibly able to? We need Chase throwing shit at them and letting them wrestle to their hands bleed and telling them to dump their girlfriends. I want Chase to go full J.K. Simmons now.
Yeah, what is it? The line I'm trying to remember. Fuck off, Johnny Utah. Another Point Break reference. I love that. No one wants to hear good job. Fucking love that. That's a great movie though.
You're dragon.
You're dragon.
Russian or dragon.
We reviewed that movie on our Patreon.
Yeah,
Whiplash.
great movie.
We need
one
a Whiplash.
One of my favorites. I love Whiplash.
Like, I guess Tough Love is essentially like something we've seen a lot in wrestling, but I don't understand this Chase U story as of right now because it is kind of flip flopping of like, wait, they were the ones who were. I don't know, but I guess we'll see where it plays out.
This is too much of a comedy act to take this story seriously of the Tough Love. If this was No Quarter Catch Crew, that would make sense with, and they've kind of told that story, but being really mean, like, doing the exercises. Oh, you're going to do it 100 more times with a medicine ball on your stomach or whatever, because like that would work. But here it's like, because you said in the classroom, you got to be fucking tough. Well, you do. You're entering a combat sport. You can't be soft, can you?
Right. I don't know where we're going to go with this. For some reason, when they showed throwbacks and the memory vision, I'm like, Duke? Question mark? Just do it.
Just rehire him.
Just fucking bring him back. I don't know. Literally, Andre Chase, Duke Hudson, tag team champions again when things were good. I think I told you, I saw a Duke and a Chase figure side by side, and I was so tempted to buy them, but I didn't. I didn't need any more. I don't need any figures, but it made me sad. I miss Duke. I hope he's doing all right. We go to our main event. 4-way Evolution Eliminator match. The women's match here. The winner will face the NXT Women's Champion, Jacy Jayne, at WWE Evolution in a few weeks. And it is Lash Legend versus Jordynne Grace versus Jaida Parker versus Izzi Dane. We have Izzi come out with Tatum, who's joined her with no chair this time, but she's got Tatum here. I think one of the worst. It's not even the theme. It's just the intro of the theme. The truth will ultimately prevail, but there is pain. Bringing it to life has to be the ultimate, like, worst soundbite. The Miz has got awesome. Austin's got the glass.
Has more than one royal family.
Yeah, it's like it is the worst intro to a wrestling theme possibly. It's up there ever. Even the theme isn't even that bad. It sucks, but like the truth will ultimately. It's such wrestling. Who talks like that?
It's bad.
Who talks like that? Come on.
Yeah.
So 4-way match here. Early on, Lash is in control. She's hitting everybody. There's a spin out backbreaker onto Grace. And then her and Izzi are duking it out. Lash sends her out of the ring. Grace is in there fighting with Jaida. There's a fisherman suplex for a near fall. Eventually, there's a Parker hits a crossbody off the top onto Grace. There's Izzi who hits a chokeslam onto the apron. And then I think Parker comes by with the drive-by. There's a lot of like all systems go here with all four going at it. Eventually, Soul and Zarya come ringside to kidnap Tatum. And Izzy's like, yo, what are you doing? She's here. She's my friend. What do you stop it? We see Fatal Influence is watching on the perch here. And Lash lifts up Grace and Izzi at the same time. She's got both of them up, one on her shoulders and one in her arms, and does the double rope like shake thing, the basketball move.
The double dribble.
It's very impressive that she can lift someone, let alone lift two people here. But the move itself is garbage. That move is not a wrestling move.
It sucks because, like, it's never done properly. Like, if you were actually bouncing their head against the ropes violently,
it would hurt. Yeah,
it would really hurt. It's as you said, it's impressive that she's picking them up, but she's really not doing anything. She's just basically bicep curling them and just slam them. It would hurt them more. It looks bad. I hate this move.
Eventually, Grace has the camel clutch on Izzi, and then Lash has Jaida sort of in a camel clutch, sort of. And while simultaneously, Grace slaps Lash. So they start to have a bit of a chicken fight while the moves are still locked in. It looked weird because Lash really didn't lock in the move on Jaida, but Grace was able to do it. But I see what they were trying to do. Eventually, Jaida hits her high step and then hits a Samoan drop on Lash for a 2 count. Izzy's in with a sidewalk slam. Very nice. Eventually, Lash uses Jaida as a weapon, throwing her around. There's a huge Tower of Doom superplex spot where Grace manages to slam both Lash and Izzi that then superplexes Jaida off the top. This was pretty good. Eventually, though, it's not a 3 count. And there's a hypnotic to Grace, sending her out. But then a jumping code breaker, your favorite, followed up by a pump kick. Again, everything's breaking down here. There's the torture rack slam from Lash, but then Grace does like a jumping mushroom stomp to break the pin and then picks up Jaida and hits A spin out torture rack bomb for the 1, 2, 3. Very impressive. Jordynne Grace wins the 4-way and will face JC Jane at Evolution for the NXT Championship, as they have a bit of a stare down. JC on the perch, holding up her title, and Jordynne saying, "I'm coming for that."
Yeah, as we thought they'd go with Jordynne Grace.
Yeah,
it makes
yeah.
the most amount of sense. I feel she will be taking the title. I thought the match wasn't bad. It had its moments. They gave Lash Legend a lot in this match. That she was almost kind of the glue in this one. She seemed to be doing most of the stuff, holding it all together, which is, you wouldn't have expected that when you look at the 4 in this match. It didn't blow me away. I think we've seen a lot better, a lot more exciting 4-ways with building up those near falls and stuff, but it had a couple of nice moments in it.
Yeah, you know what? It wasn't as good as maybe some of the other 4-ways that we've seen in NXT as of late, but I thought all women were doing some pretty impressive stuff. Again, they're trying to give Lash they're trying to give all these women some shine lately, and I think it was pretty apparent they were going to go with Jordynne Grace. I think she needs to be the champion sooner. I see her beating JC Jane. I'm just also confused because of the stuff with Blake Monroe. Like, they attacked her.
Show at all this week.
She wasn't on the show, but they showed that video. Like, does she be MIA until she appears to help like Jordynne win or something like that, to go that route or that direction? But there was some cool stuff. I'm not sure what you do with some of these women since they've lost this match, and I don't know like what stories we can do with them, but they were pretty impressive in this match. I'm happy Jordynne wins, and I think she should win at Evolution as well. I can't tell, like, nothing necessarily on this show blew me away, but I think between the rounds match, it was fine. This women's match, it was fine. It was still a entertaining show, but I wouldn't say there was a match or even a segment on this show that necessarily stands out to me.
Yeah, very, very middle of the road. Nothing was the drizzling shits, but nothing what I wouldn't recommend watching anything on this. Yeah, no, but like there are times we go, like this match was great.
Yeah,
like everything was fine. Everything's ticking along nicely on the way to Great American Bash and Evolution. We can see kind of some of the directions, some more clear than others. Like obviously Ethan Page, Ricky Saints. I imagine we'll get another Tony D Stacks match in there somewhere. Probably Dark State and Honk and Tonk.
Honk and Tonk. Honk Tonk.
I see that from my roommate Graham. It's his favorite tag team.
Honk Tonk?
The Honk and Tonk connection, yes. We see some directions, but I wouldn't say this was a blowaway episode, either segments or match-wise.
I feel like maybe I skimmed over when Ava saw that Hank and Tank were attacked after talking to Ethan Page. But yeah, we assume it's Dark State who take them out, and we assume that that's maybe the Great American Bash match. Honk and Tonk versus Dark State. And I think they would be taking those titles. The Freebird rule, right?
Yes.
Something they would use. But yeah, middle thumbs in the middle episode. I can't, like, I imagine we're going towards Oba versus Inamura. I would hope that's the match. I know it's not necessarily, like, some people will be like, who's Inamura? Maybe someone doesn't watch NXT week to week, but he has been pretty fun to watch. He has been impressive.
I mean, if you don't watch NXT week to week, you would say that about the entire roster.
Majority. But I think that would be the most, like, look, we had Miles versus Oba last time, and it was pretty good. So why not see what these two can do? And I'm sure they could have a big hoss fight between Inamura and Oba. So I guess going the direction is some of the matches. And then Evolution, we think Grace taking that title and stuff. So there's a few things up in the air, but right now we're in a bit of a lull before we get to some of the other bigger stuff. But that was NXT. That's what we thought about it. We do have a Facebook page. Search Poisonrana. Like it. It leads you to the group. Also a group chat as well. But I see one piece of feedback, and I'm going to read it. I'm going to steal it from you, Davey. Solid episode, says Megan, who writes in. Solid episode. Javon and Tavion rocked it. Oba and Inamura is a match I want to see at the Bash. The D'Angelo Stacks feud continues to limp along despite a solid Heritage Rules match. The four-way played out as I expected, with Grace prevailing. Blake Monroe was nowhere to be seen, but I'm still holding steady about cards subject to change. The Evolution jigsaw puzzle has some gaps remaining. The Great American Bash can't be an afterthought. There's an episodic angle right on the table. What's the episodic angle? Something to juice up Great American Bash is what he's saying. Something happens.
I think, something that happens on Bash leading to Evolution. I guess I'm getting the sense he's thinking Blake Monroe will beat JC Jane at Great American Bash. And then
you would imagine, like she got taken out. You would imagine in wrestling, that means she comes back and has the match against JC. So it's kind of weird.
Honestly, I'd stick with this match for now. Like, Blake Monroe has done nothing in NXT so far.
Right.
And honestly, like, I don't know. I feel be a bit loyal to your women that you've been building for the last 5 years. JC Jane has been, hustling in NXT for quite a while and has had some shitty stuff with Toxic Attraction and stuff. And I kind of think she deserves the match. And you can then go breaking off after Evolution with Blake Monroe and heat her up. But she hasn't wrestled yet. And her promos haven't blown me away. Yes, she's a bigger name, but I don't know if you'd hotshot that personally.
Yeah, I don't know if you would. I don't want that either. I'd much rather have. I know we should have JC lose to Jordynne because I want to have a great run with Jordynne. I think she's awesome every time she wrestles. Like, even in the match tonight, she was really impressive. So I don't know if we take it away from JC that quickly, because then do we move Fatal Influence up? I thought maybe Grace loses and she goes up to the main roster. Or I'm not quite sure yet, but it's interesting that Blake Monroe MIA here. Is she not able to work just yet? We kind of saw the same thing with Ricky. It was like they didn't even have a name yet. Like, was the contract finalized? Is it visa stuff? Like, I don't know. Like, what's the
I think she's signed to the company. She's got a name. She's got a music. It's just an angle.
And she's already showed up. Yeah.
Write her off. But yeah, she could show up at Evolution and cost JC the match or whatever to get her appearance on. But I wouldn't be changing the match round, to be honest.
Next week on NXT, Inamura versus Jasper, #1 contenders match, and the winner faces Oba at the Great American Bash. Both of us thinking it should be Inamura. It makes sense that it is, but a little worried there. Jasper versus Oba doesn't necessarily pay-per-view again, like a PLE, I guess, but that's next week. Miles Bourne versus Lexis King also announced, as well as Joe Hendry versus Wes Lee is announced for next week. So not the most hyped crowd. Oh, and I also think it was Izzi and Tatum versus Zaruka as well.
Yes, that's right.
No more TikToks from them, just a match. Hopefully.
Oh, yeah.
So there you go. That was us talking about some NXT. Hopefully you enjoyed what you heard from us. We appreciate you listening, all the postmarks, all the NXT friends out there. Again, we won't be live next Tuesday. We'll be off for a little bit, but next Wednesday, 6 p.m. Eastern Time, July 2nd, What Up Next with B Detroit and Cena Weevil. They will talk about NXT next week, but have no fear. After the Tuesday after, Davie and I will return to talk about the lead up for Great American Bash. And then we got to figure out what we're doing for Great American Bash, because I think most people might be watching the other show around that time on the 12th of July. And we will be. So we'll figure that out. But follow the socials. If you have Instagram, Twitter, Blue Sky, Facebook, at Poisonrana Pod, give us a follow and check out all the other podcasts that we do, including patreon.com/poisonrana. $5 to become a friend for a month's access of all the shows, including Best Match Ever, Omega Okada, all of our movie reviews, including Whiplash, including Point Break, including Big Trouble in Little China we recently did, including so many other wrestling pay-per-views and stuff. We have a huge catalog of different Patreon shows, and it's $5. So if you like what you hear, check us out, and you can find me on the socials at the Bray D.
And you can find me at Davie Portman.
That is it. That is all. Take care. Goodbye. Shout out Poundland, and peace and love, y'all. Peace and love.
Ahoy!